Stephen, Natasha, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. How's everybody doing today?
Excellent.
Good.
How
Yeah,
are you,
good.
sir?
Thank you. How are
Good.
you?
Good to be alive. Thank you for asking. Natasha, I gotta tell you, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And congratulations to both of you
Thank
on
you.
making your
Good.
welcome, your joint directorial debut for
Thank
Viral
you.
Haunt. You're welcome. Now, not only did you guys write it, but you co-wrote and co-directed it. I mean that's a beautiful thing. Stephen, you are a force of nature. I mean, you've had several films featured in the Cannes Film Festival in 2022, 2023, 2024. You're a university graduate with qualifications in TV, film, and multimedia design. In addition to having refinement and education in the technical aspect of things, you've also trained at several schools across Manchester and Liverpool. You worked in several international feature film productions, and you've placed second and fourth in Mr. British Isles. Achieved success also,
Oh,
right? See, achieved success also in the Mr. Model UK competitions, and are the current Mr. Greater Manchester as of
Mm.
2024. I mean, bravo.
oh my God.
Bravo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I have,
Although,
oh,
go
please.
on.
I was going to say, I have to ask you, what made you make to make the decision to make the transition from being a successful entrepreneur, owning the biggest independent games retailer in the UK, and
Mm.
then in 2019 you made the decision to pursue entertainment. What made you come to that?
Do you know what? I always thought about it. I always thought about the entertainment industry, and I always thought about becoming an actor.
Okay.
Um, Probably my earliest memories was around the 90s.
Hmm.
Um, I used to, it's a bit, I'm not really told anyone this before, but I used to be in like nightclubs and bars and stuff, and I'd see films on screen, and I used to always look at them whilst
Hmm.
everyone's drinking, having a good time.
Sure.
I used to always look over at the screen and thinking, I need to be on that screen.
Mm.
It's weird, I know, but I always thought, am I going to do it? Am I going to not do it? And I
Okay.
set my first company up, and literally as soon as I come out of university, it just took off and went really big straight away. And I always thought about the acting industry.
Okay.
And I always told myself, when are you going to go? Oh, I can't. Why? Because my business is doing really well. I'm going to put all my time into that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, it's something I always thought of and never did anything about it. And when the opportunity came up about, must have been about 5 or 6 years ago now,
Okay.
I thought this is a good time to do it. So
Sure.
I went for it. Yeah, and
Okay.
that's it really.
Good stuff. Okay. Natasha, I know you and Steven worked together on three projects: Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, Snake Motel, and Darker Shades of Summer. At what point did you guys begin to develop your friendship enough to start That's a Rap podcast and ultimately deciding to write and direct Viral Haunt? Tell me how you guys got to this point, on top of which starting TAW Entertainment. I mean, you guys are just doing it, doing it, doing it. How did you how did you guys get to where you are, Natasha? Tell me about that.
So it's a bit of a strange story actually,
Okay.
but Darker Shades of Summer was actually the first film that we'd done together.
Okay.
Um, in that, the first time we ever met, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on screen or not, but we actually had a sex scene.
Oh
The
wow. Okay.
first scene, the first time we ever saw each other in real life, first time I knew who he was and
Wow.
he knew who I was. We
Okay.
had a sex scene. So we were like well acquainted from the start, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, after that, I think we did Snake Hotel after that, and that's
Okay.
when we saw each other again, and we were like, "Oh, hi, you're right," and stuff. And then we became good friends because we got along really well on that set.
Sure.
And then after that, we kept in contact. Steve was doing a podcast of his own, and
Okay.
I came there as like a guest, and I was
Okay.
like, oh, I really want to do this. And Steve was like, oh, should we do it together? And we were like, and I was like, yeah. And then we set up That's a Wrap. And then, right, I don't know where it goes, but we did That's a Wrap. And then we were like, oh, maybe we should start doing films and stuff. And then I guess we kind of just fell into it, and we were like, we're really lucky, obviously.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, it was all a bit of a strange start. And when we think back to that film now, obviously it's a bit weird because obviously we're best friends now. So
Sure,
like
sure.
thinking back is a bit strange, but yeah, obviously it led us to where we are. So I'm
Mm,
really grateful.
absolutely, I'm sure, understandably so. Stephen, being that entrepreneurship is so competitive, has the competitive experience of being an entrepreneur given you the edge, you think, as far as pursuing entertainment endeavors?
That's a really good question, actually.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
think it definitely helps.
Okay.
It definitely helps because it's the way it's all I know, to be honest, business, really. That's
Hmm.
my background.
Hmm.
So I feel very comfortable setting up any business.
Okay.
So I think we're a good team, aren't we, really? Because
Mm.
Yeah.
you've got certain skills that you're better than me at. I've got some skills. I've got more experience than Tasha has at present. So yeah, I think it definitely helps. One thing it definitely does help is I don't know. Sometimes your own mind can hold you back and say, "Well, I can't do that or I can't do this,"
Mhm.
but I know I can do it. I've done it before. I did lots of things that I can definitely move those skills from my past into the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Even if it's just vision, having the vision to do stuff. Because obviously some stuff's new to me.
Sure.
This project, for example, Tash, I often said to you, don't I? It's the first time we're doing this thing, so it might be quite painful, but we're going to learn loads from it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's okay. It's a
Yeah.
good pain.
Mhm.
And then these other things like speaking to the press or marketing, that's something I'm good at that I
Okay.
might use a lot in the future.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
might not use it a lot with this project, but in future I think I probably would.
Hmm.
I think you've got some really good skills actually, Tash. Haven't you? You're
Thanks.
I think we complement each other pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we do.
Hmm. Good
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah, I
Good stuff.
agree.
Beautiful. Good stuff. Natasha, you have been busy, busy, busy since the last time we spoke. You've been at 8 films. And like we touched on earlier, you started your own podcast. Excuse me. And I think it's awesome that you're doing that you've done what you've done and continuing to do what you do. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. I salute you in that. Um, after, I mean, what else would you like to do after Viral Haunt comes out and dominates theaters?
Okay. I definitely want to make more films with Steve
Okay.
because it has been so much fun. I've never experienced something like it. It's
Hmm.
crazy. Like
Okay.
obviously I've been an actor, and even on sets where I was an actor, I was like closer friends with the crew, which is really weird because normally crew and cast are kind of like more separate. But I
Hmm.
always made friends with the crew and chatted with the crew, and I'm very friendly and I love to make friends and stuff. But
Okay.
this is like usually when you do an acting job and you see the film, you go, "Oh yeah, I did it. I love my work. I did a good
Hmm.
job." Blah blah
Hmm.
blah. But once you did, like the second we wrapped on this film, me and
Hmm.
Steve were like holding each other, jumping up and down, going, "Oh my god, we did it! We did it! Oh my god, we did it!" And it was like insane that we'd actually pulled it off. If that makes
Sure.
sense.
Sure.
Like
Of course.
there's like several times in the day that I think about it, and I'm like, we made a film, and it's
Hmm.
so weird. It's like a different kind of satisfaction.
Sure.
Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? So I definitely want to make more films.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I guess right now I'm just waiting
Okay.
to see what film's going to be next.
Okay.
And then obviously we're going to make the next film
Okay.
and hope that every single one we do is even better, I
Sure.
guess.
That's a good goal. Now, let me ask you, Natasha, would you, looking back on our conversation we had over 2 years ago, where you were then in your acting and where you are now, did you envision yourself being where you are, or how do you feel about that change?
Oh, okay. I'm in a completely different place to what I thought I'd be in.
Okay.
Um, Back then, obviously I was doing amazing and I'm so grateful for every single opportunity that I've
Mm-hmm.
had.
Mm-hmm.
Back then I never thought I'd have a podcast. I never thought I'd be making films. I never thought I'd have done anything to do with like the crew side.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought it'd just be acting through and through and that would be it.
Okay.
Um, I think back then I also thought that acting work was more regular than
Okay.
it is.
Sure.
Back then I thought because obviously I was really lucky and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I was getting acting work quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like always working,
Okay.
but that's not normal. So obviously, once I'd
Sure.
had that like rush of all the films that I was doing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I had the realization that it's not all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to go through this transition of like realizing that it's okay to not be working all the time, because I used to get like itchy feet, or like itchy, I don't know what the phrase is, but like I would get that itch of like,
Sure.
I need to act again. Why am I not acting? I need to act. Why have I not done a job? I'll just do anything. I'll do anything because I need to do a job,
Sure.
sort of thing. Because I would need it, if that makes sense. Like I needed it. But now I've realized, okay, it's fine to have a break. If nothing comes, nothing comes. You don't need to be working all the time. So yeah, I guess I didn't realize that I wouldn't be acting as much, and I also didn't realize that I'd be on the crew side. But I'm so happy with the position I'm in. I'm so lucky, so happy. I get to work as an actor, and I also get to work with Steve making films, and that's my job. I couldn't imagine something as exciting as that. So yeah, very happy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Stephen, looking at your body of work in regard to the films you've been a part of, you definitely seem to have an appreciation and an enjoyment for working on horror films. Is that accurate?
Do you know what? They're really good fun.
Okay.
Um,
I can believe it.
yeah. In all honesty, it's because that's where the opportunities came for me.
Okay.
There's a huge demand for horror films.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's why I've been in so many.
Okay.
Just because the demand is there.
Sure. Sure.
But that being said, they are really good fun to make anyway.
Okay.
And actually, I'm not a massive horror buff, a horror fan, but I do really enjoy making horror films.
Okay. Okay. That
So,
makes sense.
but that being said, the one we just made, I actually enjoy it. I mean, it's in post-production, so obviously it's not going to be ready for probably another 6 months,
Okay.
but it's good, isn't it? We like it, don't we?
Yeah, yeah,
I genuinely like it. So we probably made something we both like,
Sure.
yeah.
and we're hoping that other people like it too. So
Okay. Now, this question is for the both of you. Natasha first. Now, I think I know the answer, but between and so the three films you guys worked on, did you know that you all worked on them? Because I looked at and researched IMDb, and there were three films I looked at, and Natasha, you named the one that you guys had actually had the scene in, but it was two prior. So I guess I can't really include those, but what I wanted to ask was between those films, between the podcast, and between now Viral Haunt, what would you say was the most fun, that what's the most fun, the project that you had the most fun working on?
Barrel Hunt.
Okay.
I didn't even have to think about it. Barrel Hunt, 100%. It was so stressful
Okay.
for every minute of it, because we were also co-producing as well, and we also co-acted in it.
Sure.
So we did literally everything.
Everything.
No matter who it was, they came to us.
Okay.
Whoever was stressed came to us. Whatever problem was, they came to us at
Okay.
any point.
Mhm.
So pre-production was stressful. We got to
Okay.
set.
Mhm.
The production was stressful. We left set.
Mhm.
Post-production has been stressful, but I've never ever experienced fun like it in my life.
Okay. Okay.
Never. So yeah, definitely. And like Snake Hotel, for example, I
Sure.
had so much fun on that set.
Mhm.
That was hilarious. But the fun that I had on Viral Horn, I can't imagine it ever being matched.
Okay. Okay. All right, Stephen, give it to me. Give me your take
there
on
you
it.
go. Yeah, I would say the same. It would be Viral Horn. I think what gave us a chance to enjoy it so much, Tash. We there was that element of, obviously we're going into the unknown here. This is our first movie, but we did prepare really well, didn't we? We put a lot of effort beforehand. We get everything laid out so that when we got to set, okay, we're still directing and still producing, so it's still going to be a challenge. But we gave ourselves the best possible chance to have a good time, I think, as well as getting the work done. Obviously,
Yeah.
acting as well, but it was a good challenge,
For sure.
good experience. I would also say from an acting role only, Snake Hotel was the most fun. We're in this huge, massive mansion, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I was always in your room when I just messing around, you
Yeah.
and the other girls. We had a good time, didn't we? And it was a big place, so you could play snooker. They had a 12-foot snooker table in there. I was working out, going to the gym, and there was two films getting made at the same time.
Wow.
They had a big, massive green room,
Okay.
unlimited amounts of alcohol if you wanted to drink. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just like a
Yeah.
great place to have a good time as well as get the work done.
Sure.
So yeah.
Sure. Okay. Something I wanted that kind of came to me while listening to the both of you speak about this experience. Would you say that another thing that adds an element of fun or entertainment to Viral Haunt is knowing that it's yours? Knowing that it's your baby, produced, written, directed, stressful, true. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, two good friends came together in agreement and made something really, really good. Would you say that theory can play a part to it as well?
I would say yes. We keep
Okay.
saying this, don't we? Because I'm like saying, I think this is going to be good, but are we being biased because it's ours? Do you know what I mean? Is everyone else going to like this? But yeah, I think there's got to be, aren't they? There's got to be an
Yeah.
element of that. And also, I guess when you try and achieve something for the first time, you feel a sense of pride as well. And I think we've got
Yes.
that
Yeah.
as well. We feel like,
Yes.
oh, we've accomplished our first one,
Mhm.
and it's going to turn out. It looks like it's going to turn out like we want it to, which is
Good.
Yeah.
great.
Good.
And then it makes you think about what's next.
Mm.
Like what could we do next together? And then we
Yeah.
start talking about different ideas, aren't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
And we'll see what what direction we go might depend on executive producers, obviously.
Mhm.
But in the future, we might even put our own money into our films as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Okay.
it's exciting.
Sounds good. I got another two-part question for you. Um, how did you guys come up with the idea and the concept for Viral Haunt? Also, what was your favorite part about working on Viral Haunt that you can share with me?
Do you want this one, Tash? Because it was your
Oh,
original idea,
I
wasn't
want it from both of you. I want both.
it? Okay.
Um, so how did I come up? So it was primarily my idea of Viral
Okay.
Haunt, and then obviously me and Steve went into it together and
Sure, sure.
wrote it together and stuff.
Hmm.
Do you know what? I think I just creatively I just come up with stuff,
Okay.
and I just came up with an idea in my head, and then in the moment that I came up with it, immediately expanded on it
Hmm.
and then added parts to it. And it was like I knew the main things that I wanted to happen, but then I had to add filler,
Hmm.
like scenes that happen in between and
Sure.
where's this gonna happen and how's that gonna happen and
Hmm.
stuff.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, I think genuinely it's so boring, but I just came up with it.
Okay.
Like there wasn't any kind of like, oh my God, this is it sort of
Hmm.
thing. It was just like I think this could be a good idea. And then I was like, oh yeah, that could happen. Oh my God, that could happen. And
Hmm.
then we added all the bits in and we were like, oh yeah, this could be a really good story. And
Hmm.
when me and Steve added like all of his thoughts and all of my thoughts together
Hmm.
and made it what it was,
Hmm.
then it became a really good idea. So
Okay.
yeah, very boring. There wasn't any light bulb moment. I just kind of came up with it.
Hey, that's how
Well,
it is
yeah.
sometimes. Hmm.
So we got talking, didn't we? And said we wanted to make a film,
Hmm.
and we reached out to some executive producers, some that we knew, some that we didn't,
Hmm.
and we didn't know it worked. We didn't know if they were just going to say to us, "Yeah, we'd love to work with you. Here's an idea we've been wanting to work with you, someone to work on for a while. Can you make a film about this?" We didn't know, but instead, the executive producers that we worked with said, "Pitch your ideas to us." That was
Okay.
it, wasn't it? So
Mm.
then
Mhm.
we went away. I came up with some ideas, you did, and they liked one of your ideas. So
Yeah.
that's the origins of it.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a good idea, wasn't it? It was a good
Sure.
idea. They
Hmm.
liked it. They wanted us to make a treatment list for it, which is about a 3-page document. We did
Okay.
that. They really liked it. And
Mm.
then we went into the script. And it was yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Good stuff. Okay. Now, again, this question is for the both of you. Natasha, what kind of an experience would you like the audience to have when they watch Viral Haunt?
I want them to be shocked. I
Okay.
really want them to be shocked. I want them to
Okay.
have fun while watching it, obviously, because I'm the same as Steve. I'm not really a horror fan. So
Hmm.
I enjoy making horror. I enjoy
Sure.
being involved in it,
Sure.
but I don't really enjoy watching horror anymore because I don't
Mm.
really like the being scared part, which obviously comes with horror. Um, so as Steve said, we've kind of created something that we enjoy, even
Hmm.
though we're not horror fans. So
Hmm.
it's not going to be like a gore fest or like a slasher, there's a lot of like story to it, and there's a lot of like depth that goes into each of the characters and stuff. So I want everyone to really enjoy it and really get into it and like feel for the characters. I
Mhm.
also want everyone to like have fun with it, like I said. Obviously it's not the next Marvel film.
Mhm.
However, we have tried so hard with it, and like I said, the story and the depth and the amount of planning and preparation that went into it in
Mhm.
order to make it as good as it will be,
Sure.
we think it's going to be great. So as long as people can have fun and watch it, that I would be happy with that. And again, like I said, I've forgotten what I said. I also want people to be shocked. That's what I was going to say. I also want people to
Okay.
be shocked because we put a lot of like twists and turns in there.
Sure.
So a lot of things where you think something's going to happen,
Mhm.
something else, something completely different happens.
Okay.
And that happens a lot of the time because obviously, again, this was Steve actually. Steve didn't really want it to be. I'll let Steve explain this bit actually.
Well, yeah, one of the things when I was younger, I never really liked horror films that much because I used to think they were a bit silly and
Mhm.
predictable.
Mhm.
So I was saying to you, I would like, and to be honest, we didn't put that many of these ideas in, but like a typical horror film that is so easily to predict what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
We wanted to try and avoid that. So I
Okay.
think if the viewer is watching it and they go, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that," that'd be for me, that'd be something quite good. Obviously, most importantly, I've been watching obviously the first edit of the film, and I've been laughing whilst watching it. So I'm not sure if that's just because I remember some of the fun we had making it,
Mm.
or it's actually quite funny. But I guess it might not be for other people. Do you know what I mean? But it's not like a gory horror. It's more of a like scary type fun horror.
Mm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
psychological sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
obviously it depends. It might change a little bit in post production. Obviously with the sounds and stuff can make a big difference to
Mhm.
what the audience might feel when watching it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think if as long as it's well received and people have got relatively realistic expectations,
Mhm.
then that would be good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just but you want people to get out of, you just want it to be well received more than anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, stay in your films, do you prefer villainy? Would you what do you feel more inclined to portray? What do you like more, the hero or the villain? What area would you like to delve
Oh,
more
as an
into?
actor.
Hmm. As an actor.
Yeah, I'd definitely say hero actually.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely that's I mean, I've played the villain a few times.
Sure.
Um, and yeah, they can be fun, but I think I definitely would like to do a few where I was not the villain.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Natasha and Stay, what are your short-term desires and your long-term desires for TAW Entertainment?
Um, Short term, I literally just want people to enjoy Viral Horn. I want it to do well. I want the
Mhm.
press to go well. I want
Mhm.
it to be distributed everywhere. I want people to go, oh my God, we watched this, we loved it.
Mhm.
Long term, I want to make bigger films, better
Mhm.
films.
Mhm.
Obviously, both of us. Not just me. I want us to make bigger films, better films.
Mhm.
Um, and each time they just get better.
Okay. Stay.
Yeah, I think if it's short term, if we say that's 12 months, for example,
Hmm.
I'd like this movie Barrel Horn to come out and do well,
Hmm.
be well received.
Hmm.
And then maybe it'd be good to make a few more films this year.
Hmm.
I don't know how ambitious that is, but I'd like to make a few more.
Okay.
Long term, well, we've already got some ideas and it's early stages. We
Hmm.
want to make some bigger budget films,
Sure.
Yeah.
and we feel like we can do it.
Hmm.
Of course, it's a leap of faith, but these things always are.
Hmm.
You don't know you can do it until you've done it, basically. We feel like we can make a much higher budget film and deliver and also market it very well. And we're very confident. I'm very confident in some of our ideas. Um, but we understand Rome's not built in a day. We're happy to do smaller budget films and work our way up. Obviously, whilst we're doing this, we're picking up more experience. So it's not a bad thing. You know, we don't have to get to the destination immediately. We can be patient, but we would love, wouldn't we, to do something really big.
Yeah.
That's what I'm striving for, and we've talked about, haven't we, a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that'd be good.
Do you have a preference in terms of when you guys do that, something that's really big? Do you have a preference in terms of what the genre is, or it doesn't matter?
Well, I think for me, it probably doesn't matter that much,
Okay.
because if we do something that's really well received and does spectacular,
Mm-hmm.
we could then be in a position to do pretty much what we want,
Mm.
hopefully. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's breaking through,
Mm-hmm.
and then you might financially, we're not bothered about the money really at this stage anyway, because it is what it is. But if you are really successful in anything, the finances will come anyway, as a byproduct of your success.
Sure.
And then we could use that money to do something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we've got lots of ideas, haven't we? We've got lots of good
Mm.
ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'd definitely like to do more films, won't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tosh, what's your take? What do you feel as Stay does, or is yours different?
No, I feel exactly the same, to be
Okay.
honest. Like I said, I don't really enjoy watching horrors anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but I do enjoy making them. So dabbling in different genres for me, like, wouldn't be a problem really. I do enjoy like rom-coms, like
Mm-hmm.
comedies, sad films that end good.
Mm-hmm.
I like them ones. So, yeah, but like Steve said, we've got a few ideas that we are like kind of latching onto that we
Sure.
really, really, really feel good about. And I can't say anything about any of them, obviously,
Sure.
but those will probably be the ones that I'm most excited for, I guess, because we've already like fleshed them out.
Sure. Mm-hmm. That's understandable. Now, Tosh, what has been your favorite part of the business thus far? Technical behind the camera, or becoming the character performing in front of the camera?
For me, it's probably directing.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say that.
Did you?
Yeah. Tasha really enjoyed that part of it, didn't you, on the set of Viral Haunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for me, it would be I favor the acting more.
Okay.
Um, I think I would have liked the directing more if it was my story.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed it obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but I was always talking to you one eye about what you imagined for different scenes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was all good, all of it. I like the production side as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I got into the acting industry was to become an actor. It wasn't to become a director, and it wasn't to become a producer.
Okay.
It just seemed to make sense to
Sure.
do this,
Mm-hmm.
to take this
Yeah.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
And also you get to learn new skills, which is great.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'd lean towards acting for me.
Okay. Okay. Tosh, what's a word of encouragement or advice that you would give someone that's facing a tough time in their life?
Oh, it's hard to not be cliche with something like that. Because every bit of advice I've ever heard, I've always said, oh, yeah, okay, whatever, everyone says that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's been right. Like, it will get better. And you always
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. But then it does. And you're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, this is a really strange bit of advice. But if you ever go through something that's really traumatic and you're really struggling,
Mm-hmm.
put a timer on, like, how long you think you're going to feel shit for.
Mm-hmm.
I would always do that. Like, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to struggle with this for 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then every day I'd be able to knock a day off. So I'd be like, okay, 13 days left, 12 days left. And then after that 14 days, obviously I'm going to feel a bit better because it's been 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like the countdown made it feel like it wasn't forever.
Mm-hmm.
Even though some things that people deal with, obviously, you will feel like shit forever. But in 14 days' time, you will feel a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's just the little bit you need to get over how you feel right now, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Stay. What you got? Same question.
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I'd probably say the hardest part is figuring out the reason why you're going through a difficult time and then
Okay.
try and fix that.
Sure.
So if it's something traumatic, you might
Mhm.
need to speak to people.
Hmm. Hmm.
If it would depend what it is. If it's something
Sure.
financial, like you
Hmm.
might not be being successful,
Hmm.
it might just be worth trying twice as hard as you're currently trying.
Hmm.
Throw yourself into work through some. Again, it depends. It depends
Sure.
what it is. Get to the gym. I always find that really, if I ever feel a bit down, a workout does wonders for me. I go
Hmm.
every
I
day.
agree. 100%.
Keeping busy and talking to people. I think them two things.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Tosh, what is a word of advice or encouragement that you wish someone had given you when you faced a tough period in your life?
Oh my God. Oh, I'm trying to think now. Probably let me think toughest moments of my life. To be honest, I've been really lucky that I do have really supportive people around me.
Okay.
Um, my mom is like amazing,
Hmm.
and every time I think about some of the most traumatic things I've ever been through, she always gave me really good advice, and she would always be there with the timer for me, and she'd say 25 days left, and I'd be like, right, I can do this for 25 more days.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes I'd go through really hard things, and I'd say to her like, how long, and she'd go 35 days, and I'd be like, okay, I can do this for 35 days.
Hmm.
Um, so I was really this. I can't think of anything that I wish someone had told me,
Okay.
because I think in the times where I really, really struggled, and I really thought, like, I don't know how much longer I can cope with this for, I was told all the things that I wished I would have been told, if that makes sense. Like, I was told everything I wanted to hear.
Okay.
I guess all I would say to people is, because I didn't experience this, like I said, but I know a lot of people, when they go through a hard time, it's hard for people that love them to not, how can I explain this, to not be like angry at the situation. Like, for example, if someone keeps going back with their ex-boyfriend and they keep cheating, for
Hmm.
example,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's hard for people who love that person to not be annoyed and saying like, oh, you're doing this to yourself, like, to not be annoyed at it. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I've seen it so many times with people that need someone to talk to. They're like met with like hostility or like anger, and it's
Hmm.
difficult. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Sure. Okay. Stay. Same question.
For me, I mean, I think I've only had one part of my life where I found it quite difficult,
Hmm.
and someone suggested therapy,
Okay.
and I was like, obviously being a guy, I'm thinking about this logically. I thought, I don't think that's going to solve this problem,
Hmm.
and because I just thought, what really could talking do to fix this? And it did.
Sure.
I
Of
went to
course.
therapy, and I was amazed, to be honest. I was
Good.
really impressed.
Awesome.
And the thoughts that I was struggling to get past in my head, I
Hmm.
could get past them.
Hmm.
So yeah, that worked for me. It might work for others, it might not, but that would be the one for me.
Sure. Sure. Well, Stephen Staley, Natasha Tossini, I appreciate you guys taking this time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with me. I'm looking forward to not only the success of Viral Haunt, but the success of many more films to come out of TAW Entertainment. I appreciate your time.
Thank you
Thank
so much for having us.
You're
thank you,
welcome.
dude.
You're welcome. Is Viral Haunt your first film role?
It's my first feature film.
Okay, your first
Yeah,
feature film.
and
Okay.
it's my first non-student film.
Non-student film. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
What attracted you to the project? How did you get involved?
I just honestly, like, I'm an actor just starting out, so I'm looking for opportunities wherever I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I always scroll through backstage, like the new jobs that are available for the like sort of person that I am, like my age, my race, my height, my everything.
Mm-hmm.
I got my filters and the jobs pop up and it popped up. I try and apply for as many things as I can.
Okay, okay.
So that's how I kind of came across it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and they had me audition. It was a really interesting audition. They
Okay.
wanted me to perform like one of the more intense like action sequences,
Okay.
but just in my house. So I'm in my house like filming this scene with like a knife, pretending I'm getting attacked, and like it was fun. It was fun.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I could tell by your countenance and the smile on your face that you had a good time with it. I was going to ask you, did you
Yeah,
enjoy it? Okay.
I really did enjoy it because, uh, I've trained a lot in drama school,
Okay.
and I've taken so many movement classes
Hmm.
where it's all about like storytelling through movement and breath, and just your use of your body, and because I was, my whole body, I had a costume, I had a mask
Hmm.
on,
Hmm.
and I didn't have any lines. I had to use that training
Okay.
in like a really practical way. I'd never
Sure.
applied it before like that, so it was cool. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
really enjoyed it.
Wow. I would imagine that that was a different depth or level of acting because, like you said, you weren't using your words, but you were using your body and mannerisms in that. So,
Exactly. Not even like facial expressions or
sure.
anything like that. It's
Mm,
like it went towards my, because I've got a mask. You can't see what, but somehow I've still got to like show what the character is thinking and what the character wants.
sure. Sure.
I luckily I've had plenty of training and know how to do that, and even stuff like mask work.
Hmm.
So, and you put it on and you you kind of start to feel it take over a little bit.
Nice.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
Huh.
really fun.
Good. That's interesting because like I think that kind of leads me to my next question, which was what steps did you take or what things did you do to prepare for the role in the film? I think some of what you said kind of alluded to it, but please, by all means, expound a little bit if you can.
Honestly, I mean, not too much.
Okay.
Like, I've trained a lot in movement work and mask
Sure.
work and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I felt pretty well prepared. And
Nice.
I'm of the belief that, like, technique is there to fill in the blanks when
Hmm.
instinct doesn't do what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Then that's when you go back and you look in your toolkit and you say, okay, how can I flesh out this character?
Hmm.
What can I, if I'm not believing something, what do I need to make it believable for me? What
Sure.
do I need to put my shoulder behind this role?
Sure.
But for this, everything felt honestly really organic
Okay.
and like, and just fun and like playful. Like my, what I wanted was just so clear in every scene because my goal is to kill these people
Hmm.
in every scene that I'm in. And so it's like it's just a very singular drive that this person has.
Sure. Sure.
And that's for me it's kind of it's easy to play that as an actor. You know exactly what you want and you go
Hmm.
after it.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Real good. Real good. Were there any key things that you learned while working on this particular project, Viral Hunt?
Hmm.
Anything that stuck out in particular?
I mean, I think again because I have most of my experiences in theater,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I haven't been on very many film sets.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so every film set that I've been on so far has just been really different,
Sure.
and like getting acquainted with different people's styles of directing.
Hmm.
And like what I liked about this project is that like we didn't stick to the script like it was a Bible. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Sure.
We would adapt to the space that we were in
Hmm.
and to the like the needs of the actors, and we would figure out how are we going to make it work in this actual real world environment as opposed to
Sure.
how are we going to try and like take all of these things and try and mold them into something that we are. No, it was very an adaptable process, which I really liked.
Okay.
And it just felt very like, yeah, just like a I felt free in this environment, and if I'm honest, I can't tell you exactly why I
Okay.
felt so comfortable,
Sure.
but yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. It's interesting because I found that comfort is important in the multitude of things, performing everything, a lot of stuff. I mean, when you're comfortable with a person, you can open up to them and communicate and have a greater level of friendship or romantic
Yeah.
relationship. So that's really good and that's key. That
Yeah.
that was something that worked for you. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think I really do think it was just because I had so much fun playing the character.
Sure.
If I could like say it was anything, it's just I really liked being in that costume. I looked so
Okay.
scary, and I liked the fight choreography. It was just
Sure.
fun to
Okay.
do. So I wasn't worried if I was like doing a good job or if I was pleasing people or
Hmm.
making whatever.
Hmm.
I was relaxed and I
Sure.
was like. I felt like I was in my element and I felt like I did good work and
Mm,
because of that,
good
you know
stuff.
what I mean? I didn't need to
Excellent.
worry about the extra stuff.
For sure. For sure. As an actor, what are your short-term goals and your long-term goals?
Mm. Short-term goals, I would like to get more like official work,
Okay.
really.
Hmm.
Like stuff that's higher paid,
Hmm. Sure.
making and stuff that's like posted on Spotlight or that I'm getting through established casting directors.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, those are short-term goals, and I
Sure.
feel like they're achievable sort of within this next year.
Hmm.
Um, and long-term goals, I want to. I mean, when I talk about my long-term goals, a lot of it is about like being able to have a family
Sure.
and
Sure.
being able to provide for my family with
Hmm.
my acting,
Hmm.
right? And like that means like healthcare and like safe neighborhood and like
Hmm.
all that, which in this world is a lot of money.
Hmm.
So, and which if you're an actor, it's like you need a kind of a high level of success to be able
Sure.
to support a family.
Sure.
So, having like a series regular role on a TV show or something like that where I can really sort of feel more established. But then further than that, I have a lot of ideas
Hmm.
and stories that I want to tell,
Hmm.
you know? So, being able to produce and write
Okay.
and direct my own projects would be really, really great because
Sure.
I feel like I have something to say and yeah, something to
Okay.
contribute.
That sounds good. Well, I mean, just based upon our conversation and your energy, your knowledge, your enthusiasm, Ty, I'm looking forward to some good things to come from you for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Tell me about your experience at East 15 Acting School and the prestigious acting and stage program, please.
Oh man, so it was incredible. It was an amazing 3 years.
Okay.
So it's the acting and stage combat course at East 15 Acting School,
Hmm.
and it is the only course of its kind in the world. So I was really fortunate.
Hmm.
And it is 3 years of conservatoire actor training. But it's kind of you have an extra string to your bow because you
Hmm.
graduate as a fight performer as well. So you get trained in 8 different weapon systems, so like broadsword, sword and shield, knife, which was really useful in this movie, um, just like to bring all that intensity to the fight scenes.
Okay.
And then yeah, graduated third year. Was really fortunate to get an agent, and here I am.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks very much.
welcome. You're welcome. How was your experience at East 15 Acting School? How has it, silly question, but how has it helped to develop you as an actor?
No, I think that's a great question.
Thank you.
It was intense. It was
Okay.
really intense.
Hmm.
I don't come from like an acting background, at least prior to that.
Okay.
I had a kind of a career switch.
Hmm.
So I did 2 years of musical theatre, where I'm from in the Lake District, which is like rural north of England.
Sure.
Um, and I kind of just took a chance and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna audition at this like really prestigious school on like the only course of its kind. And I was like, I'll probably give myself 10 years to try and get in.
Okay.
Uh, and then just super fortunate I got in first time. So I
Wow.
think even though it was like really intense and it was
Hmm.
long days,
Hmm.
and it always was I had this like gratefulness, just to be there,
Sure.
um, which kind of made it um, I don't know, made the experience sweeter. So yeah,
Okay.
can't fault it, honestly. And some of the fight directors, like incredibly fortunate to have been taught by them.
Sure, sure. It's interesting that you mentioned just how just being thankful, that gratitude genuinely, truly grants perspective. It's hard to complain when you're just in the consistent mindset of gratitude. You know, you're so grateful to be there. You were so grateful to be there. So you didn't think about the intensity or how difficult it was, just that gratitude. So that's really good, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. That was so well put as well.
Thank
So
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate you. I've been itching and aching to ask you now. You did all the stage combat and all that good stuff. Have you trained? Did that encourage you to want to train some form of martial arts at all, or where are you with that?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, tell me
absolutely.
about it, please. I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah, so I think when I started, so I did a little bit of boxing before going on to the
Okay.
course.
Okay.
I just felt like it was a really good conditioning tool. And I've always been like a huge boxing fan, huge
Okay.
UFC fan.
Sure.
Um, so I did a little bit of that. And then when I went on the course, they train you in a martial art to kind of just learn like a fluidity of movement that's really
Okay.
useful in
Sure.
choreography.
Hmm.
So we did a little bit of Kali, which is a Filipino martial art,
Nice. Yep. Hmm.
really stick based, a little bit of knife as well.
Hmm.
Um, and outside of East 15, I did some Brazilian Jiu Jitsu,
Wow.
which I thought was really humbling
Sure.
experience. So I loved that. I did that at Southend Combat Academy. So shout out
Okay.
to those guys.
Sure.
Um, and then at that academy, I did a little bit of Olympic wrestling as well,
Wow.
which I think it's amazing. I think even though they're both grappling sports, I think the
Hmm.
contrast between wrestlers and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners are like it's like night and day. Like I
Sure.
love it. I love the contrast.
Sure. I mean, but see, the cool thing about that, Jack, is you got a little bit from both of them. You know,
Yeah.
there's a contrast, but you have a little bit of both, and it makes you more well-rounded of a martial artist, man. I trained martial arts off and on for a number of years. So when I was
Oh,
researching,
amazing.
yes, when I was researching and I seen about the combat training, I said, I gotta ask him. I gotta ask. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
thank you. And then to look at you, you look like you're in good shape. So, I mean,
Thank you.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. All of those things definitely play a part. Um, is there any other martial art that you think you'd like to incorporate or that you'd like to learn or I mean,
Oh,
because you sound
man,
like
I'm like a kid in a candy shop. Honestly, that's a good question.
thank you.
Um, martial art that I haven't tried, which I'd want to learn.
Okay.
I feel like Muay Thai,
Muay
like
Thai. Okay.
the Thai kickboxing.
Sure.
I feel like some of those guys are like really hardcore. Like I watch some of
Hmm.
their fights and like their records, the age
Hmm.
that they start fighting.
Hmm.
Um, I think that would be cool because we did a few kicks. We did like a little bit of kickboxing.
Sure.
But and like we did a lot of gymnastics as well, so it was really good for the flexibility.
So you're a
Um,
gymnast. You're a gymnast too?
yeah, so I maybe wouldn't call myself a gymnast, but I've got some tricks up my sleeve.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can like walk on my hands quite efficiently.
Okay.
Um, do like a front flip. It really helps with like the falling and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like more in leaning more into like the fight performance side of things.
Sure, sure. I mean, so Jack, being that you have the background with the combat training and you're a lover of martial arts, do you think that that would incline you to want to do more action films in particular? I mean, because I would imagine it'd be hard. I mean, myself personally, I've been a martial artist for a number of years. So when it comes to watching film, I want to see martial arts. You know, when it comes to creating film and that, I like to incorporate martial arts into it. That's just a passion and a love for me. But I'm curious as
Yeah,
to if that's the same for you, or would you still like to delve off into other things?
yeah. I'd still like to delve off into other things.
Okay, okay,
And I feel like I'd say, I mean, I love action films. There's so
sure,
many good action films out there,
yeah,
so it's
for sure,
definitely like um on the horizon to do
yeah,
action films. But like for example, like the horror genre, I feel like the intensity in often seen in horror, it really blends itself nicely
hmm,
to having that physical background.
sure, sure,
So it's something that I thought I could like utilize in this movie.
hmm,
Um, so yeah, I want a bit of everything really. I'm a little
okay.
bit greedy. Like I want to go in all the genres.
Hey, why not? I mean, it's performance. I mean, you know, yeah, most definitely. Jack, tell me about your experience working on Viral Haunt. How did you get connected to the film? And tell me about your experience on the project.
So I would say, and well, initially when I heard about Viral Horn, I thought I want to watch this movie, let
Mhm.
alone like be in it. Like this is a movie that I would kill to watch,
Sure, sure.
because it's just so unique in its concept.
Okay.
I got in touch with Natasha,
Hmm.
so one of the producers and directors.
Hmm.
Um, so I actually trained on the same course as her boyfriend, Louis Santa.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, so yeah, me and him trained at East 15 for 3 years. It was amazing. He's like
Wow.
top guy.
Okay.
So talented as well. So if you haven't checked him out, I highly recommend it.
I will. Thank you.
Um, and yeah, so that was kind of like where the mutual connection came in.
Okay.
And then she invited me to audition for the role of Jake, so one of the leads.
Hmm.
And as soon as I saw the audition materials, I was like, oh, this is a good fit. I was like, this is if it was a jacket, it's like it would be very snug. Probably like your blazer there. It's a good
Thank
fit.
you.
So I did it, and I got really good feedback on it. But
Okay.
obviously they have to audition, they have to put the auditions out there, and it has to,
Mhm.
get as big a net as possible to see like the range of talent.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, oh man, I hope like this will be so amazing.
Okay.
And then about a week later, I got a message saying congratulations, you're in the film.
Nice. Nice. That's
And then
awesome.
oh, thank you.
You're
And then
welcome.
my actual experience on set, I really can't fault it. I think Natasha and Steve were just phenomenal.
Mhm.
You wouldn't think it was their first like horror feature. You'd think they're
Mhm.
way more experienced than that.
Wow.
I think all their acting background really played a part in it as
Sure.
well.
Okay.
Like yeah, they had a really good grasp of what was going on, and they ran a good ship.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Now, do you have any standout moments working on Viral Haunt that you can share? Anything that really just, other than you said earlier in terms of how just is the creativity of it, the
Yeah.
concept, but do you have anything else about the experience that stood out to you, or had you already stated it?
Oh, it's a tough one because there are so many that just jump
Sure,
out.
sure, sure.
If I had to say one, I would say it would be in the scenes
Hmm.
where, and there's a few of them where all the main cast are together.
Hmm.
So you've got about five actors, and it was the energy in the room.
Okay.
There's a scene, a podcast scene,
Hmm.
um, and it was just flowing. Like it was
Hmm.
really flowing, and you could just
Hmm.
tell that everyone was kind of cooking on hot gas and
Nice.
bouncing off each other. So yeah, I would say that because there was just the energy was so high, and I'm so fortunate to work with so many like talented other actors.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I would say the big scenes. But then on the flip side of that, anytime there's a bit of violence in there, which I don't think I can mention, but any bits of violence in there was, oh man, like we're in for a treat when we see it.
Okay. Outstanding, outstanding, and awesome. So, Jack, I mean, man, with your skill set, which would you say you love the most as far as entertainment is concerned? Do you love the writing aspect, the acting, the producing? Which one
Oh,
do you favor the most?
oh my God. Like that's actually a really good question, man. Because
Thank you.
I mean, like I've actually worked on all three of those fronts before,
Hmm.
like acting, writing, and producing
Hmm.
my own works. Um, I'd have to say, well, I'd have to say because I've been doing it for so long, like I started doing it when I was 6 years old and professionally when I was 16. I would have to say like acting
Okay.
is probably my yeah, like my favorite one. Like, just to go on set, sort of like become different people, like understand, sort of like their humanity as well
Hmm.
as understand the other people's humanity.
Hmm.
It's just really interesting. I mean, I definitely do want to continue to write and produce and everything. And I mean, both of those areas are really fun to do and everything. But I think because I've been doing acting more than I have with like writing and producing, I would have to say acting's probably the one that I find the most fun.
Okay. Okay. Well, that definitely answers. Okay, that makes sense. Wow, you said you've been acting since you were 6. and then professionally
Mm,
since 16. You've been at it a
yeah.
long time. That's impressive. Wow. How did you get into it?
Well, yeah. So I'd have to say, like, when I was a kid, like, before I was six, I was kind of like a little bit like worried. I didn't know like what I was going to do with my life. I was a
Okay,
quiet kid. I didn't
sure.
know what the future had in store for me and everything. And it's just that I know that this is going to sound like really weird, but but for me, like it kind of like inspired me. So when I was a kid, I used to watch like a lot of like animation films, like Disney, DreamWorks, like I watched like like for Disney, I watched Aladdin, The Lion
Mhm,
King,
mhm.
um oh God. Like so many Disney films. Pixar, I watched Shrek, Pixar, I watched A Monsters Inc., A Bug's Life. And I mean, like at that time I considered like The Jungle Book like one of the best films ever made and everything. And it's
Mm,
just like those films like really spoke to me and just like the characters, like the amazing and some cases quite crazy journeys that they go on and everything. It just really spoke to me. Like I was just sort of like drawn to those kind of to those kind of films and everything. And I
mm,
think like because of like those films, it just made me feel like, oh, this is what I want to do. Sort of like be involved in that world of not just acting, but filmmaking in
mm.
general.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah.
Wow, wonderful. Okay. In terms of the different things you've done, because again, you've done a lot of things, what would you say has been your favorite project that you've worked on so far and why?
Um, well, I would have to. I mean, I feel guilty if I
It's
say
okay.
viral haunt. So yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, the casting crew, the of viral haunt. I know that they mean well.
Sure,
Really, really lovely bunch of people.
of course.
I would have to say, but my favorite film that I've ever acted in would have to be Monstrosities. Like
Okay.
that was like the first film that I wrote and produced and everything.
Oh, congratulations. Wow.
And yeah, like I think like that was like I think it was like back in 2016
Mm-hmm.
Monstrosity happened and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I remember like I because I remember the process. Like I had to audition for this film called Double Take, which was directed by James Rollins,
Mm-hmm.
who would help direct Monstrosity and everything. And I had to do like this situation, this scene from the film Fight Club and everything, where I was the narrator, Edward Norton's character. So I did the audition, first time ever. Like the whole room just like erupted in like a standing applause. So yeah, like it was a first for me, and I think it was like about like 1 or 2 months. I contacted James and asked him like, hey mate, what's the result? Hey Jack, so unfortunately you didn't get the role. Like we felt like you looked a little too young, but
Mm.
I mean like I was impressed by your performance at the audition. I want to work with you on like a film. Like, do you have a
Wow.
film idea and everything? So I mean, not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous at first. I was like,
Mm.
oh God, like I've never written and produced a film. Oh God, like I've never created my own film and that kind of stuff. But then I took a moment and thought, like, you know what? This is a golden opportunity. I'm
Mm.
just gonna like go, just run with it, just go with it,
Mhm.
and see what happens. And yeah, like everyone involved in Monstrosity and James, they were just so helpful and everything, and just making Monstrosity possible. We only the production of the film only lasted for like 1 week
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
everything, but it was still like a really really fun process,
Sure. Sure.
and I had like a better understanding of like how the writing process is done, how the
Mm.
producing process is done and everything, like
Mhm.
all sort of like the technical aspects, even though I was more of like an actor filmmaker
Mhm.
who works mostly with the cast.
Mhm.
It was still like a good learning experience. And I think like that film got like 50 film festival selections and a lot of wins, including like
Wow.
best actor and everything. So
Wow.
that was the film that sort of like that I didn't not only did I have like the most fun in doing, but it sort
Mhm.
of like motivated me to get into that world of writing and producing.
Okay. Well, I definitely salute and congratulate you, Jack, for the fact that
Oh,
you're welcome. When you were faced with a challenge and you didn't, you stepped up to it, and ultimately it seems like the experience made you a better entertainer in terms of multiple regards, like you said, with the writing, with knowledge of learning the technical, and of course sharpening your acting, which is always a good thing. So congratulations to you for doing that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have a favorite genre that you enjoy performing in?
So favorite genre,
Hmm.
I'd have to say favorite genres, I would have to say,
Okay. Okay.
would probably have to be drama, suspense, thriller. I do like a little bit of horror, just as long as it's like not too, I mean, sort of like not too over the top, something like
Hmm.
Saw, where it's a
Hmm.
gore fest.
Sure.
Yeah, just sort of like that grounded like horror film. And I also like acting in dark comedies as well.
Okay.
I mean that's like my favorite type of comedy, dark comedies and
Sure,
everything.
sure.
So I guess like it's kind of like sort of like the dark and more grounded kind of stuff and everything. Sort of like the basic meat and potatoes, as I always like to say, just
Okay.
something that isn't too pretentious, something that isn't too flashy, isn't too like, like sort of like show it in your face, and everything.
Hmm.
Just something that's like very grounded and everything, and something that the people can relate to in terms of like
Sure.
storytelling, the people or characters, and the message.
Okay, I
Mm.
understand.
And I'm like that with when it comes to sort of like watching TV series
Hmm.
as well.
Hmm. Okay. Jack, how did you get involved with Viral Haunt? And also tell me about your experience working on Viral Haunt.
So, I mean, Viral Horn, it was really interesting. So,
Okay.
like, I was checking, because I'm a member of like this acting platform called Backstage,
Hmm.
and so like I was like scrolling through, sort of like newsfeed, UK acting jobs and everything, and I saw Viral Horn pop up and everything, and obviously before I started, putting my application forward, or applications, because I applied for more than one role,
Hmm.
um obviously, like I always do, I would read through the, plot summary, I would read through the character bios,
Hmm.
availability. I'm like, okay, da da da, okay, looks good.
Hmm.
Yeah, like it looks good. Very, very, very interesting concept and everything. The first um film that came to mind when I read through like the production details was like um Paranormal Activity and
Mm.
the Blair Witch Project and
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm. Okay.
And but it was like sort of like with the use of like social media and everything. And I thought
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, this is good. This is good. And
Hmm.
obviously when I was like going through the character bios, I was like, okay, I can go for Richard, the role that I ended up getting cast in. I could go for Jake. I can go for Joe, opening boy that gets killed in it at the start of the film, and everything, etc. So I started submitting those applications, and
Okay.
then Natasha got back to me and said that for each application, like, hey Jack, do you mind if you could submit the self tape? So I did the opening. I submitted my self tape for the opening boy one, which I thought I was fine with that one.
Hmm.
I was good. Um, I submitted the sort of like the killer one, which involved like a fight choreography one, which was kind of like interesting in a good sort of way because I've never done like a sort of like a self tape that requires me to do like film combat and everything. So
Hmm.
I submitted those self tapes. I submitted the Richard one. I felt the Richard one I was like really happy with.
Hmm.
I felt like, okay, yeah, like the Richard one, I'm really, really happy with that. I was really pleased with that one.
Okay.
And then it was actually really funny because I was working on and preparing for my Joe self tape,
Hmm.
and then Natasha messaged me back and said like, oh hey, hey Jack, so we've watched your opening boy, killer, and Richard self tapes. We really, really loved your Richard self tapes.
Okay.
So therefore, you're our Richard. I was like, oh wow, okay. So I kind of like put the Joe because I was like currently working on Joe,
Hmm.
um, so preparing my self tape for the Joe one.
Sure.
I didn't make a start. I didn't make a start on the Jake one, so I kind of like put those two aside. I was like, because there was no need to. I was like, okay, cool. I'm Richard.
Hmm. Right.
And yeah, just like the production, it was definitely like really interesting because like we shot at like this Craven Arms. I can't remember what the place was. Like it was supposed to be like this Ripper Manor where the Haunt Hunters that Richard's a part of gets to like film there and everything.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just like it was just so amazing. Like, I rehearsed with the cast like on Zoom beforehand, and I did like my own preparation with other actors and readers on We
Mhm.
Audition and everything. And
Sure.
when it came to working on set, like every one of us, we just bonded so well together. I'm just so so happy not to just be a part of something special and something unique, but I'm so proud of everyone. I mean, like we all come like we all have like different personalities and
Sure.
everything, but we were just able to click so well and everything. And I mean, everyone like just gave it their all. Natasha, Stephen, Kelly, Jack, who by the way was absolutely phenomenal as Jake, and Will and Heavily and Elliot, like and the whole crew. I really owe it to those guys. Like those guys have just been an absolute blast. It was actually quite for me. I don't know if anyone else felt this way. It was kind of sad when the production ended. Like, but no, I had such a good time like working with them. Those guys were just terrific. Absolutely terrific.
I've heard nothing but good things from every one of you that I spoke with in terms of the experience. That's a beautiful thing. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it when it comes out. Jack, I am just so thankful again for you taking the time to talk with me. Hopefully you'll have a wonderful day, and I'm looking forward to seeing more out of you.
Thanks, Kendrick.
You're
And I hope
welcome.
to see I hope to see more from you too as well, man.
I
And
appreciate you.
I mean, like, yeah, like the films that you're doing and everything, and just the film festival selections that your films have been receiving.
Thank you.
It's just absolutely phenomenal, man. Just keep
Thank you
at
so
it,
much.
and
Thank you.
just keep working at it, man.
Thank you
I'm
very
I'm
much.
really, really proud of you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that encouragement, brother. I will hold on to it. I will keep it close to me, and I will continue to try to do my best, and I know you will do the same.
All right.
It has been
Thank you
an
so much,
honor and a
Kendrick.
privilege. Thank you so much, Jack. You take care, okay?
All right. Yeah, take care, mate.
Thanks.